Hello world, it is Monday, October 24th, 2022, and looking out the window at Defiance. It looks like it's a beautiful sunny day, and I think it's going to be 75 again today. Um, kind of cool this morning, 50 degrees. Um, Not really October weather. I'm going to get some more sunshine in here. The devotion for today is entitled Green, written by Quinn Caldwell. Quinn bases the devotion upon Acts chapter 2, verse 24, New Revised Standard Version. But God raised Jesus up, having freed him from death, because it was impossible for him to be held in its power. And then Quinn writes, on a hill just outside Ithaca, New York, there is a meadow. It looks like a nature preserve. A couple chunky rustic benches, some wandering paths. If you start walking and look closer, you will see here and there large stones on the ground that look native to the site, irregular, but carefully flush-mounted. They're carved with names, dates, epitaphs. This is Green Springs Natural Cemetery Preserve, one of a growing number of natural burial grounds in the green burial movement. No chemicals added no chemicals added to bodies to make them last and leach into the earth around them in the process. No metal or concrete enclosures or boxes. No wood that has been treated, painted, glued, or dyed. Just bodies, natural fiber shrouds, cardboard cartons, maybe a rough box of native pine if someone felt fancy. Stuff that disappears. No traditional headstones. Few even of those flat field stones. Wildflower and native ground cover made of molecules returning from human borrowing seem a better memorial in the eyes of your average Green Springs resident. Jesus knocked the door off his tomb. Many of us are still planning to be buried in one. Jesus insisted on being set free. Many of us are still planning to one day be put inside boxes, inside boxes, inside boxes. Death could not contain Jesus. Many of us are still working hard to allow death to entrap our bodies forever. But on a hill just outside Ithaca, and in places like it all over the world, there's a meadow full of flowers and trails and grass, and death slowly being freed back into life. And Quinn's prayer. Thank you for the loan of these molecules, God. I promise I'll return them when I'm done. Amen. Well, for me, this devotion obviously makes me think of my own burial, and I've often talked to our daughter that when I die, I'd like to become a tree, because there are processes, natural burial processes, in which your body is buried with a tree nut and it becomes a food for a tree. My personal belief and feeling is that we are dust of the earth, and that's how we should return, is back to the earth, not necessarily entombed in a brass or gold or platinum or whatever kind of metal box inside of a concrete tomb buried in the ground with a granite headstone. Again, this is just my personal feelings. May not be yours, and I understand the need for cemeteries for people to process their grief. Some people really need that, and I can appreciate that. But I really feel, for me, that I just want to go back to the earth from where I came. And whatever the thoughts are on the resurrection, as some people think, it's a bodily resurrection. Others don't even believe in the resurrection. If God can do miracles, then God can raise us from the dead, no matter where we are or where we're from. And you think about it, people who were buried in the past without any kind of embalming at all, and buried in the ground, and eventually even their bones will dissolve back into the earth. Bones are basically calcium, which, and with the addition of water over time, will eventually dissolve and become nutrients to the soil. And it's part of the cycle of life here. The soul, it could be, or is, in my mind at least, a whole different phenomena. But I think the other thing this devotion makes me think of is that we don't need to be afraid of death. It is just part of a natural cycle. we come and we spend our time here on earth, living and loving and being in God's creation, and then we return to that, and life goes on. So, hope that gives you some things to think about. Maybe you got something else from this devotion than I did. There's lots of different ways to understand it. But I hope you have a good day, and I hope to talk to you again tomorrow.